Hi, good afternoon. This is Joel Flores with the Brokerage Inc. Life Department. Today we are going to be talking about using carrier resources to market life insurance. And we get questions often about what marketing materials are available from the Brokerage Inc. for life insurance. Well, rather than producing all of that stuff in-house, what we really would like you to do is utilize the various carrier resources that are available. And so what we've put together today is a nice centralized page on our website where you can go in and click on all of the different resources available from each of our life carriers. Oftentimes you don't need to log in. So if you're not appointed with that carrier just yet, that's not a problem. And then oftentimes these materials are customizable, so you can add in your contact info, your logo, your picture, all of that good stuff. Okay, so here we're right here at the Brokerage Inc. main page. In order to access this localized page, you just have to log in. So go over to Agent Login. I'm already logged in, so it just takes me right to the dashboard. If not, you would need to put in your login, your username, and your password. If you don't have a login, that's no problem. Just email me afterwards and we'll get you registered, okay? So once we're at the Broker Link dashboard, just head over to the left-hand side where you see Helpful Resources. Click that tab. Now we have a bunch of different resources. You can filter by type or insurance type, or if you're feeling lazy, you can just scroll down until you find life insurance marketing resources. Okay, so once you find that, you're just going to click there. Now you're going to see a pretty long list, and these are going to be live links that you can click on. So what we did was we broke it up by different carriers. So if you're interested in working with a particular carrier, you can find them on this list and see what resources are available, okay? And so again, you can see all of the different things that are available, and none of these, I will say, require that login. So say if you wanted to click on Pacific Life and see what that marketing toolkit looks like, you can click that. Open that up in a new tab and you have that. And again, you can do this for all of these links, right? But one thing I do want to highlight while we're on this call is AIG, or American General. You can see there's already quite a few links up here. I will say this, American General probably has done the best job of any of our carrier partners in consolidating their resources, making sure that you have product training, product material, customizable social media posts and email templates. And they've done a fantastic job of just generating all of these resources available for us and for you to use. So rather than hearing me talk about all of their resources, we actually invited Georgia Hale and Tom Brown from AIG to join us on this webinar and speak about their amazing resource pages. So with that being said, I would like to introduce Tom and Georgia. Thank you guys for joining us.
You're welcome, Joel. Thanks for having us on the call. And of course, it's awesome to have Georgia Hale, my work wife, on the call too, because she keeps me out of trouble and keeps me on point. Well, I was talking with Joel earlier. He wanted us to cover some of the marketing insights that we have on retirestronger.com on how you can help prospect in this marketplace, in this COVID environment, which, you know, unfortunately, it's been a roller coaster, right? At first it comes out and it's not too bad. Then we lock everything down. Then we start to open things back up. Now states are starting to lock it back down again. So bottom line, it looks like we're going to be in this roller coaster pattern, unfortunately, until we get very close to some type of vaccine or treatment that works, or both, closer. The good news is we have a lot of tools that were already in play, almost like you have Zoom and WebEx out there that were great to help employees work in this environment. Well, we've already had a lot of pieces and marketing materials that were actually readily available to help you work virtually in this world when you might not be able to meet with clients face to face. So we're going to cover today, I'm going to start from the right to left. So this is our website, retirestronger.com. It's easy. There's no password. It's just www.retirestronger.com. And when you go to that site as a main site, you'll see that there's different tabs. You'll see products, agent recruiting, agent development, client prospecting, client conversations. And then whenever you click on any one of those, this tab we happen to be in is client prospecting. You'll see these additional screens that drop down. You'll have find clients, generational selling, and campaign in a box. So one of the things that we've done a really good job helping you with, it's a great tool, is called Campaign in a Box. So it's complete turnkey marketing. It can be basically your virtual marketing assistant. And what you'll see is, if you scroll down, here are your options. You got topics on long-term illness expenses, retirement income protection, which goes into your overfunded life insurance type concepts, life insurance basics, how to grow your business if you're an agent that's maybe not a life specialist, but you want to grow your practice, and then mortgage protection, which that tends to be really, really, really popular. So for all of these 5 there right now that we have, and we're going to grow this out later in the year and into next year, in these 5 topics, you're going to see full pre-built campaigns, how-to videos, emails, social media blogs, and videos and infographics. And what's really cool is we just updated all the videos and infographics that we have available. So again, the site's pretty easy. Once you get to client prospecting, you click on campaign in the box, all you have to do is scroll down and you'll see long-term illness expenses. You can look at the campaign, social media, infographics, consumer emails. For all 5 of these topics, you have all of that. What I think is a great place to start is let's look at mortgage protection. If you click on pre-built campaign and how-to videos, what you'll see is it says how to watch videos. So you can actually watch a video that walks you through it, but you can also look at a pre-built campaign. And when the pre-built campaign comes up, you can set up, you can do it weekly, monthly, one time frame, whatever you want to choose. But what it does is we've done a week-by-week campaign that says, okay, if you want to do an email, here's an actual video that you can put in the email. You want to do direct mail piece, here's a piece that you can use there. You want to post something on LinkedIn or social media, here's some little blurbs, whether they're little videos or they're little factoids, and I'll show you some samples here in a second. And then you'll have week 2. So again, like, hey, here's one on LinkedIn, for example. It just pops that little piece, 202,000 is your average mortgage debt in 2019. So it's got those little pieces that you can immediately put into your emails, again, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or you can email them. And then I'll give you, here's a sample email. It'll pull it up. And when it comes up, here's your sample email campaign. And all you have to do is put the client name and your information and hit send, and then there's your letter. And it's even got a clickable box to say how to protect your mortgage. So again, completely turnkey, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out. And then at the bottom, what's really nice, it puts all of it. Here's your full campaign from email, direct mail, LinkedIn, social media. And all these stats have been updated. All these pieces have been updated. And again, you've got videos, you've got little clips, you've got little factoids, all you can put in there. And that's just one concept. That's just your mortgage protection. But again, you got to grow your business. He's got the same thing, though, if you want to look at long-term care. Here's a whole campaign on long-term illness because that's real popular right now between the COVID environment and then people just getting older and older and more people in their 40s and 50s taking care of their parents that are in their, late 60s to 80s. And so lots of stats on that. Same thing, same promotion, email, direct mail, LinkedIn. So that works. That's very helpful. We get a lot of feedback on that, on how to do that. And then, like I said, when you're in Campaign in the Box, you can just look at the social media side, and then here's all the topics you can go to, and then here's all the pieces. Like you can, for the different things you can download, for example, retirement income protection, you want to see the social media posts. All these little blurbs are different stats that you can download. So if you, let's say, how do you want to live in retirement? Click on this. 60-year-old with an annual household income of $150,000 should have over $1.3 million in retirement savings to maintain their lifestyle. So lots of little factoids like that, all right there, readily available within Campaign in a Box. And you could, again, look at it by social media posts. You can look to it by videos. You can look at, once you're in Campaign in a Box, you get to pick. You want to see videos and infographics, for example, that I just mentioned we updated. These are all the brand new video, 3 brand new video clips that we updated, or actually 6 videos that we updated, and then here are all the infographics. And then when you go onto these infographics, when you click them out, here's a new, for example, supplemental retirement infographic. And there's where you can fill in your information here at the bottom. If you look in here, you could fill it in, put your name. So a lot of good tools. Sorry. A lot of good tools that you can access to. And again, here's your infographics and here's your videos. And in this world, a lot of people like these quick factoids, quick videos, quick hits, so it works out pretty well. But again, it's all under Retire Stronger Client Prospecting Campaign in a Box, and it's just a good way to drip on your clients or your prospects that you're working on, and it's turnkey. You don't have to rebuild it. Georgia, before I go on any further, anything that I missed or anything you want to add to that?
No, that's pretty detailed for Campaign in a Box. Yes, you're good to go.
Great. Before I get into generational selling, I want to show you another great tool that we have. It's called Find Clients. So again, same thing, Retire Stronger, client prospecting, go to Find Clients. And what you'll see here is you've got pieces for, on the left, prospecting resources. You've got beneficiary review and policy review. But I also want to show you a trick because Georgia and I found this out the other day, and I believe it's under here. Yeah, you can also go to agent development, and you'll see I like it's a little more robust. So you got policy review resources. So you've got a policy review playbook, you've got policy review explanation, you got FAQs, campaign in a box to go with policy review, check-in letter, how to do training conducting a policy review. And the same thing with one of Georgia's favorites, beneficiary review. You got a beneficiary review playbook, and I'll show you this in a second. How-to guide, helpful calculators, campaign in the box to go with that. So what's nice about this page, what I like a little bit better than from the client prospecting tab, again, this is under agent development, it has a lot more resources besides just the marketing pieces for policy review. But one of the best resources we have on here, and Joel, this is a good sublink, it's called the policy review playbook. So when you pull up this playbook, it's got a couple steps, and each of these little blue arrows, and I'll zoom in a little bit, is clickable. So what's the ideal client? How's the presentation go? What client materials do we have? Again, FAQs, check-in letter, what a sales concept. And then we've got calculators for it, all from this policy review playbook. Student budget, net worth, different calculators will help you out. Here's a case study with a worksheet. Here's a check-in letter. Here's a customizable check-in flyer. I'll just click that real quick. Here's a policy review flyer. Here's all the information you can put in there, all ready to go. So that's a good.
Tom, would
really
you
good...
go back? Would you go back
Yep.
to the letter?
Back to the letter I was just in. Yep.
Yep. Go down to the check-in letter. So, as Tom said, policy review is probably one of my favorite playbooks that we have, and the reason for that is because we have some very robust marketing materials that are out in our policy review playbook, and it tells you what the ideal client is. Tom, if you can click into that,
Yep.
It gives you an explanation of what you're looking for in a client and who you should be marketing to. And the majority of the time, the clients that you've already sold to, they're already are your trusted clients. You've earned their trust. You've earned their value. You sold to them once. So the odds of you selling to them again is greater than marketing to someone new off the streets or off of a client list that you've never met. So I encourage you to use our policy review playbook because it has a lot of material in it. And with every policy review, there's a beneficiary review. It could lead to a sale in a different product. It could lead to a term conversion. It could lead to a sale to their children, their grandchildren, other family relatives. So policy review should be placed into your caregiving kit is what I call it. And you should do those as often as you can get your clients to respond to you. That's just my 2 cents, Tom. Thanks.
No, I think that's great, and I think it's key too. You want somebody that's had a policy for a while, not just that recently just bought their term insurance, unless they already told you when they bought it they're thinking about converting soon. Usually they're people that have a permanent policy. They've had it for a while. So again, just like that other letter that we opened up over here, hold on, I gotta get rid of the screen, where it says, $250,000 or more, premiums of $5,000 or more, has some type of cash surrender value. Typically they're between 40 and 80. That type of range, or somebody that's already bought it, that's where we're seeing a lot of the reviews being done. And then as they get older, We're seeing a lot of people do term conversions, and some of our largest premiums that we've gotten in this COVID marketplace have been term conversions on the older ages. They're between 65 and 75, even 80, that are maybe getting the ability to be underwritten either because of their own health issues or because of the COVID environment. They can't do it. So their only choice to get permanent and to keep their premiums where they need to be or get a permanent product is to convert that term. So we're getting some very large sales of 70 plus, especially year olds, converting finally to permanent products, your IULs, your GULs, those type of products. So it's a great time. And a lot of those conversions, they came from policy reviews. The other area we're seeing policy reviews are people consolidating policies maybe over their lifetime. Let's say they're in their 50s and 60s. They brought 2, 3, 4 policies. Well, maybe now they can consolidate them, 1035 exchange them into one policy and get more bang for the buck, or reduce their premium, or get more death benefit, or maybe they want additional death benefit and it just helps them out and they consolidate it. So we're seeing a lot of nice sales again in this virtual world from either A, term conversions, or B, 1035 exchanges to help consolidate and make their policies more efficient, make them work for them. This letter is pretty good too about policy reviews, just some changes. You know, has your marital status changed? Have you gotten a new house? Do you have a new job change? Have you received an inheritance? Any of those things. And maybe you already know that about your clients, so you don't need this letter. You can just use this as for yourself to see who might be interested in doing a policy review. So that's a good piece right there. And again, it's all from this policy review resources. So when you go to that, the link that I hit that pulled up is this policy review playbook. So it's got all that on one page. And if you save this link, even if you save the PDF, all these quote hyperlinks with the little blue arrows, they all stay hyperlinked. So tons of material. And the same thing, what's really nice, again, Georgia mentioned the beneficiary review. We have a playbook for that. And when that pulls up, it's got, you know, how does the process work? What's the market? And there's a financial professional guide. We even have a consumer financial journal, which I think these are pretty nice. I'll open that up. It's just a journal. Where do your assets go? Have you checked it for things to think about? Are they up to date? And it's actually got a journal that they can use, and they could write in and fill out, okay, what have I done? Where do I want to do it? And they could just, you know, put that in their safe or safety deposit box, or just wherever they keep safe documents to help track it. Because that's one thing, a lot of people, they don't update their beneficiaries, and they may have had a lot of changes. So sometimes an easy way to get in the policy review is by doing a beneficiary review. And then after reviewing the beneficiaries, you find out what policies they have, and that leads into reviewing that. And you uncover problems that they might not even be aware of. So that's just some helpful tools that can help you out. So again, that's agent development, beneficiary review, policy review, really good. And like I said, from client prospecting where we were before, we do have under Find Clients, we have beneficiary and policy review, but we don't have all the additional links that they have. So we have a worksheet, we have our training for both, and then for beneficiary of a client workbook and guides. But under agent development, there's a few more tools that you can use. One other favorite before I leave this and go into generational matters is I think this is great in this virtual environment when you're trying to identify, okay, who's a potential client of mine? Who might be somebody to look at? And again, like Georgia said, a lot of your opportunities aren't necessarily going to come from brand new people. They're going to come from your existing clients, whether that's either referrals or that's repeat business and things that they didn't even address because they're so focused on just navigating kind of this new normal environment that we're in. So this page is called Who Do You Know? And it's got about 5 bullets per each topic. And under those 5 bullets, a takeaway from this is if you're having trouble finding life clients, if you could identify 3 clients that may have needs under these different bullets and bring those back to Joel and team to run various life insurance scenarios, I think it can help uncover some revenue in addition to term conversions and policy reviews. So again, just take a look. You got long-term illness expenses, who's currently providing financial support to parents or know someone that is. I think almost everybody, even people in their 30s, know of somebody that's taking care of somebody else or helping support them. And you'd be surprised how much that affects people and how much that, you know, whether it's less hours of doing their own job or adding stress to their lives, how can they address it? It's a great tool or great questions to ask because you can help them address those concerns by adding chronic illness and long-term care riders to life insurance policies, in addition to some of the products out there that also address it as a standalone. Who's had major life changes, marriage, divorce, new child, new home, new job, new business, maybe all the above. Well, all those changes warrant conversations to talk about life insurance and long-term care planning. Maybe they're lucky enough to be wealthy, or maybe they have a business and they're concerned about legacy planning and what's going to happen to their portfolio when they do pass on, because there will be leftover money. And where does it go, or where does the business go? And then tax diversification. This one's huge. I think this is an area that in this COVID environment, especially, and you see all the time, we're signing all these bills of trillions of dollars for PPP and tax credits for people and government sending people money. Well, eventually we're going to have to pay for all of this. It's just not going to be just free and go away. So most likely, almost a definite way to look at it is taxes are going up. So we have some great pieces on this, but some questions are, between ages of 30 and 55, they're generally healthy and they're concerned about taxes. What are they doing for their tax advantage growth? Now, we have a great piece that goes with this. We call it 5, 10, 20, separate piece, and I'm not going to go over everything, but the bottom line is you just draw 5, 10, 20 on a piece of paper, and the 5 is your contribution, your accumulation is the 10, and the 20 is your retirement, your distribution. Which one would you like to pay taxes on if you could pick one of those numbers? Everybody's going to circle the 5. It's the lowest number. But yet when you ask people what are they doing, they all say they're doing their 401k and IRA. So which one are they going to pay taxes on? It's the 20. Well, we've got a great tool that works just similar to a Roth IRA that you could pay taxes today in the lower brackets, have it grow to the 10, and then when you take the money out to 20, not pay taxes on the 20 via withdrawals and loans, and take advantage of that and have asset protection from creditors in Texas and some of the surrounding states. So that's a great tool to use, and it's just something to come up. So I was just, as you can tell, I'm kind of passionate about that. The tax diversification with where things are headed is going to be a bigger and bigger conversation to have with your clients. And then last, small business, who do you know? Maybe they have a business and they want to get it on to the next generation. Maybe they want to protect key employees. Maybe they want to do supplemental retirement benefits just for themselves or for the key employees. So all these questions are key questions. So if you can go through your book of business and say, okay, let me identify 3 people for all these questions, that's a great start. And then after you run through those 3 people, then go on to the next 3. And it's a great tool that you can use. Now for the
can
last
I
part,
jump in there real quick?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
For some of our, so that one major life changes, that portion of it I think is huge. I think that all of us, and especially our agents and myself included, can look through our personal connection to people and network and see, and we probably know 5 people off of the top of our heads that would apply to. So those are great life insurance opportunities. For those on the call who are in Medicare, so Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, that may not apply to them, right? But when you're doing fact finding about them and their family and having those genuine conversations where you're getting to know the client and their family, you could be talking about their son. You're like, oh, your son just moved into a house. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great news for them. Does he have any plan to protect the mortgage in case something were to happen? So those are the kind of ways that it may not be particularly focused on your client, but when you're talking to those clients, those senior clients about their families, do a little bit of digging, a little bit of prodding to see what you can uncover. And then you get more lines, not with just that one senior client, but now with the entire family. So keep that in mind when you're meeting with these prospects. That's all I have. Sorry.
Great. No, those are great points. And major life changes, those are the biggest ones that happen too. And people are going through life changes all the time, right? Kids are off to college, or you have a new child, or you just moved into a new home, or maybe you changed jobs, those type of things. So I think the top 3, long-term care, illness, that's on everybody's mind, especially when you get in your 50s, older. Tax diversification is going to be big with where we're headed on supplemental retirement. And then again, major life changes, that affects everybody. I mean, you could be 20, 22, or you could be 72 and you could have major life changes. So I think that's a great point. So that's all under our find clients tab. And you see right here is who do you know? There's that piece I just mentioned, kind of stuck out with a flag, but again, it's under the prospecting resources, beneficiary resources, and then policy review. So some great things. So we covered campaign in the box and how to do turnkey marketing, 5 different subjects. We covered find clients and how to identify them. So one last tool I want to show you is we call it generational selling. So when we first came out with this, generational selling, we looked at all the different generations. You got millennials, Gen X, baby boomers. Now you got Gen Y, Gen Z. even additional ones that are out there today. It's hard to believe that millennials will be turning 40 in a year. So it really makes me feel old because I'm a Gen Xer. When we first came out with this, we just provided data on how these generations worked, what they liked. Did they like email? Did they like mail? Did they like in-person visits, or do they like text and leave me alone? Those type of things. And of course, the more you get toward millennials, the more they want to do it over text or over electronic resources. They don't want to do face-to-face meetings other maybe than initial visit. So they want to be very transactional, but they want you to be transparent. So anyway, we put all this together. It has the different life stages for them. So if you click on any of these generations, it'll tell you about how they work and what they like, what they don't like. But one of the best things that can help you, what I like is we call it Generation Station. So what you'll see is it's Generation Station, and you got to say, what I'll do is on the left-hand side, and you can do this for all your existing clients, no matter what you sell them. And what will happen is, I'll just use myself. You enter here on the left, your name, and I'm going to make myself young to start, and let's just say 30, and you're in a relationship, but you're not a parent yet. You're just getting started. You're 50 to 100,000. What you'll see is I click that and then on the right, it'll say, okay, what are the needs? Final arrangements, emergency fund, pay off mortgage and debt. What generation are they? Millennial. What do they like? Digital transactions. Must access people, information, products online. They don't want to just have everything in a letter or email or a brochure, hard copy. How to build the relationships. Tips there. What they like text, social media, email's okay. They're really not a big fan of phone calls face-to-face. They're the ones that send you the voicemail, and then when they're in voicemail, they listen to it, and then they text you back because they don't want to have a long conversation. And then it's got all the tools that go with all those sales ideas. But what's nice is now let's say I'm 40 and I'm 41, and now let's say I'm a parent, and now let's say I have one child under 13, let's say two children under 13, and now I'm in career building, and now I make 100,000. Now you see it changed now that I'm older and I had different needs. Now not only do you have the funeral emergency fund payout debt, but you have replaced income of a spouse, support for minor children, college funding, supplemental retirement, college education. I'm Gen X. I'm a little bit different, and I do a lot of research, so I need everything substantiated by facts and data. I won't just trust what I read or hear or somebody tells me. And you can ask Georgia, I'm that way today. Preferred is email, text, neutral letters, and social media. Face-to-face, it's just not a big fan, but it's doable. And then all the pieces with it. So for each of these pieces, you'll see ones with a down arrow, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Anything with a down arrow right here is a PDF. Anything with a little calculator is a calculator. So we have a life insurance needs calculator, life expectancy calculator. And then anything with a little checkbox or just leave behind checklists for the client, preparing for death, surviving relatives, those type of things, college savings, protecting your home with life insurance. And I'm not going to go through a whole drill, but just for example, this life insurance needs calculator, here's a whole calculator that you could keep it really simple for basic needs, or you can expand all these and get really detailed on expenses of debt and really come up with as much detail as you want to add to it. And then at the end, when you're done, you hit view report and you calculate and run a report. So again, you can collapse these and just run the overall boxes, or you can be very, very detailed. It's up to you. So that's a good tool that gets us a lot of kudos. So that's a good piece right there. And then back to, sorry, I'm going to zoom back down, back to this piece. So now I'm going to do one last one. So now let's say I'm 50, let's say 51, and now let's say my children are 13 to 21, and now I'm pre-retirement. Let's just keep the income the same. What you can do is you can hit this button here on the right that says Save Custom Report. And when you hit Save Custom Report, it's going to open up this PDF. And what's really good is you're preparing to meet with this client. Okay, I'm preparing to meet with Tom Brown. This isn't to leave with Tom Brown. This is to prepare to meet with him. So you've got a client, 51, relationship, pre-retirement. Here's their income. Here's their parent. They have two kids, 13 to 21. well, what needs do I want to address with this client? So maybe this client just brought up the need of, hey, I need some insurance to cover my mortgage. But what about everything else? And you might not want to talk to everything else at one time, but maybe you noticed that they were talking a lot about caring for their parents. So maybe you want to bring up chronic illness, or maybe they're concerned about outliving their assets and taxes going up. So you want to bring that up. Or maybe you want to talk about college funding for their children because they brought that up. So those type of things, well, it's all on one checklist so you can identify that rather than just be someone that takes an order and they say, hey, look, I need some term insurance to cover my mortgage, because that happens a lot. With clients, they just go, okay, I got a mortgage that's $250,000. I need $250,000 a 20-year term, for example. So this is a good way to bring up some conversations outside of that. Again, like I mentioned, it's got the approach. You can look at, okay, what generation are they? What do they prefer? Just kind of give you a heads up. And then again, preparing to meet with them, maybe you want to send them some information ahead of time. Maybe you want to have some information with you, but it's got a whole bunch of pieces, again, that we talked about. The down arrows are the PDFs, the calculators are there. So maybe they're talking, they go, well, I'm covered at work. Well, here's a piece right here on understanding employer group insurance versus a supplemental term policy. How does it work? What's portable? What's not portable? And how does an individual term policy work? And what do I decide to do? And it's got a little box, and then there's a leave behind. You can put your information on it. So again, all right at your fingertips, right there in front of you from this central report. So it's a great report to save for each client. So again, when you go, let's say you go to that who do you know piece, if you already have the existing clients, you can go who do you know, you can plug them into this generation station report. It can give you some additional ideas to bring up for the client, and then you can decide to talk with them. And then if you need even further help, you talk to Joel and the gang at the brokerage, and they could put together a game plan on how to meet with these clients, even in the virtual world, and what's a game plan to whether you're going to mail them some material or do it over the phone, how to address their needs. And again, we have all the pieces, calculators, checklists to leave behind, going on and off chronic illness claim, supplemental retirement, all that. So it's just a great tool that we put this all together and kind of like the 1, 2, 3 punch, if you will. You've got, okay, how do we find clients? What do we identify in our book of business? Who do you know? Who's had major life changes? Who's caring for a parent? Who's concerned about taxes? Who has a small business? Small business owners are great. Then, okay, then maybe we run a generational selling report about them and look at that. And then if we need to find some existing clients from our book of clients that we have, we can do the turnkey campaign in a box and send them pieces on a weekly basis or a monthly basis on these different things like long-term illness, retirement income, or basics of life insurance. So a lot of great tools and resources that are available there. And then for Joel, for another webinar, we can go into our advanced market site and small business owners. So there's a lot of tools for those markets too. That's opening up a whole new world. But I think for today, with all the tools that you see between policy review, beneficiary review, generational selling, the generation station tool, how to identify clients, and the campaign in a box with the turnkey marketing, it's a great combination. And the one thing that I ask, because you hear a lot of webinars and you go through it and you go, okay, that's great, and then you go back to your normal reality. What I would really do is try to identify, on the find clients piece, find 3 clients, and then go back to Joel and say, okay, here's 3 people that I thought about after the call with AIG, and then identify them and see if we can put something together that might lead to a life insurance sale. And then also maybe get with Joel and gang and say, hey, you know what? I do want to do something from campaign in box. I'd like to do one on, let's say, mortgage protection. Can we do a mortgage protection campaign to my clients? How do we set that up? That type of thing. So I would take advantage of these tools. Again, while we're in this virtual environment, you want to take advantage as much as possible. So with that, Joel or Georgia, anything I missed or anything else you want to add?
Hey, Tom, while you're
Sure.
on this page, why don't you go over to the videos and the infographics and just touch briefly on how much we have out there and what can be shared and who they can share it with.
Yeah, and I covered a little bit in the beginning, but yeah, sure. So on the infographics, we updated all these. So these are all approved for your clients. So these are all videos that can go. You can put it on LinkedIn, Facebook, social media, emails. And then, so for example, these are little, they're like 1 minute long. So you're like, here's a minute one. I'll just give you a quick sample. So they're just little videos that you can clip that walk through all the different stats. So here's 76.7% of patients survive a first-time stroke. And then at the end, as it kind of wraps it up, well, not before the disclaimer, future with us, and then choose a plan living benefits for your healthcare costs. And then that's when they get with you guys and the people at the brokerage. And again, we've got all these factoids. So for long-term care illness, here are some of the new one-pagers that we have with a lot of infographics. One page, and again, you can customize these and email them out right there with all your information on them. And so these are 1-minute videos, so they don't take long because people lose attention in this world because they're getting so many. And then these are big infographics that we have. How much do you need? Here's another good one. So that's really helpful. And then also just remember, like I said before, in the campaign inbox itself, you have all the individual infographics that go, like we have all these thumbnail images that'll go into, let me pull this up here. Here it is. Here's the thumbnail images that you can download, and it goes right into all these little ones right here. So here's 6 different thumbnail images that you could cut and paste and put right into social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, that type of thing. So tons and tons of content, and some of it is, you got to point, jump and click through it, or point and click through it, but it's got thumbnail images, download posts for social media, again, for all these different topics, whether it's life insurance basics to the different generations, grow your business, grow your practice, mortgage protection, same thing. We have all those in one spot. And then again, if it's too much to break it down per individual, to get overwhelmed, you just hit the pre-built campaign. And then when you're in the pre-built campaign, just download it. And when you download it, again, you just scroll down. And what I like doing is going to the bottom because it lists all 4 of them. Here it is. And then here's your different infographics, everything all laid out for you. So you don't even have to jump around. So lots of good tools, and we want you to use them because this can help lead to sales, when you're in this market, especially when people can't see you. Great stuff to email, drip, post, and then follow up with people on. So again, and kind of in summary, term conversion, policy review, who do you know, generation station tool for a checklist before you meet with a client, and then turnkey marketing with campaign in a box with 5 topics right now, and we'll grow the library out. And if you could use that and start off with 3 people on the who do you know, that's great. And then get with Joel and team, and hopefully you can land some nice sales this summer. So with that, I turn it back over. Joel, anything else you want to add to it, or anything else cover?
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you. And so, as I mentioned in the call, there's a ton of resources out here. So I encourage you guys, follow the links. We'll send you all these links in a follow-up email. But just play around on Retire Stronger, see what you can find. If you want to know more about AIG's products, there's a great products tab over on the left-hand side where they have some pretty in-depth training and materials for each of the products. And say you want to know more about IULs, there's a specific training piece. Their training piece is talking about IULs or about long-term care versus chronic illness. So even if you don't use a marketing material, but you want to get caught up to speed on some training, that's available here on this Retire Stronger platform. So it's fantastic. So definitely take 30 minutes, spend 30 minutes just playing around with it. And if you have any particular concepts that you want to promote to your clients and say, I have this list of emails, what can we send them? What's the best way to send them? Campaign in a box is a great way, or reach out to me personally and we can develop something together and see what we can do. But yeah, that's all I have. I want to thank Tom and Georgia for joining us. They've always been fantastic to us, and I'm so glad they were able to join us today. So yeah.